Welcome, and now it's that time where we are going to have that discussion that we've been talking about since the show began. We've been looking at the fuel crisis. It has skyrocketed, 134.72 shillings per litre for petrol, and a bit, and some more also for the effect it goes to diesel and even kerosene. Today, I'm joined by Wacera, who's an investments analyst at Cytonn Investments. Hi, Anne, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Karibu sana, and thank you for creating time so that we can just digest this crisis that we're facing as a country.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. EPRA announced that their latest review that has taken the fuel prices on a high, a historical high, if I may add to it. Does it come as a surprise, or it was anticipated given the factors, all factors considering?
I'll say it's a little bit of both. We've been expecting the prices to go up since, let's say, Q1, March 2021. But you see, they brought in the subsidy where they cushioned the consumers. They would tap into a fund, and then the prices will remain unchanged. But given that the taxes have not been coming, we expected the prices to go up, but not as soon as now.
All right. So you've spoken about the subsidies. Was this, could the prices have gone a bit higher sooner were it not for the subsidies?
Yes. Because you see, they removed from this review, they removed around 7 shillings in petrol, in subsidy that was there. So let's say if the subsidy was still there, the prices will still have remained unchanged, or maybe just increased just a little bit, but not as high as we've seen right now.
All right. And the fuel prices as it is lands at 60 shillings a litre. And it is now, we at the pump, we are getting it at 132, more like a 70 shillings difference from the landing cost. Why so?
You see, the 70 shillings difference can be attributed to the number of taxes and the levies that you have been seeing. You'll see around 7 shillings that will go maybe to, or 9 shillings that will go maybe to VAT. We'll see like 21 shillings go to exercise duty. There's also an amount that will go to the petroleum levy. That is just a fund that will goes to the subsidy, where now the IFRA and the Treasury now take that money to push on the customers. But I will mainly attribute all this, that 70 shillings, due to the high taxes that we've been seeing in Kenya. With the high taxes, let's say, yes, we'll be crying, but not as much as an outcry that you have seen right now.
All right. So basically, what we need to blame is the taxes that we are facing as a country for the high prices we are experiencing at the pump.
Yes, high taxes and high levies.
And now let's bring this into context. What does it mean for the economy directly and indirectly? How does it affect the economy? I mean, somebody would ask, the prices have gone up, I'm not feeling it. How does it affect the economy?
Let me put this into perspective. You see, right now we are still in a COVID environment. As much as we've seen people go back to their jobs, there are those who are still unemployed. There are those who are still in pay cuts. There are those who, as much as you're being employed, maybe your salaries are delaying by 1 month, 2 months, because the economy is not performing as well as it was, let's say, in 2019, 2018. So when the fuel prices go high, remember the common mananchi. Let's say, let me just give an example of my name, Anne. Let's say I'm paid 10,000, and then fare the public transport. I used to pay maybe 100, right? It's at 150. My salary is delaying. When you go to the like you see, it will trickle down to inflation. And when fuel goes high, inflation goes high. When inflation goes high, it means me with my 10,000, I won't be able to buy as much good as I wanted to buy with the 10,000. I've seen people even complain, I'm going the supermarket, like 1,000 doesn't buy you anything, 2,000 doesn't buy you anything. And this is just due to the high inflation, because we'll still be using a lot of money, but we don't have that much. Like let's say I lost my job, my business is not doing well, I'm still using that 10,000 to pay my rent, to pay for transport, which has almost doubled. Food prices have also gone high, and this is just looking at fuel, how it trickles down to inflation. And you see, there are those PSVs, let's say in Mombasa, I've seen people saying they will walk to town, but you see not many people in many countries. Let's say for Nairobi, if you live in Thika, you can't really walk to town, because unless you start working from 4 a.m. so that you can reach, but it doesn't make sense to walk to town, but you'll see now people will still have to pay that, let's say 150 Kenya shillings, and there's no much money coming in. There's a lot of money going out and not much money coming in. And if inflation is high, we'll see the economy continue to grow at a slower rate. COVID has not yet gone. It's still with us. The vaccine is not being distributed as fast as we wanted. So Kenya, we saw it contracted by 0.3 in 2020. So if the fuel prices continue to go high, if inflation continues to go high, if the shilling continues to depreciate, I will see Kenya's economy just grow slower, maybe by 1%, 2%.
All right, and I know you've begun touching on it, on the effects that this would have to the households in the country. But what's the worst case scenario? Should the trend continue? How bad is it bound to get?
The worst case scenario, if the fuel prices continue to go high, if IPRA does not come in and just cushion the common mananchi, because you see with the high prices, it always trickles down to the consumers. The ones, the producers of oil and everything, they won't take that burden. They always pass it down to the consumers. And the worst case scenario is we'll have inflation go at a high. For August, it was around 6.6%, and if it reaches around 6.97%, that would be the worst case scenario. And remember, IMF on the loans that it gave us last year and also this year, they warned us about high inflation. So if inflation continues to go high, it will be bad for Kenya. Most so people don't have a lot of money. The disposable income is still kidogo. Like we've seen, I've seen NCBA who have recalled back their employees, but not 100% of their employees. So just if there are very many NCBAs that have, let's say, called back 10 people, and they had they had fired, let's say, 100 people, only 10 people have come back to work. You see many people are left jobless, and with fuel going and inflation going high, it doesn't matter if you have no work, if you don't have no income, you still have to buy food, you still have to buy rent and to pay rent. You see, like, amount of money that you get, it will all go down just because of inflation, and that's the worst case scenario I see for us in Kenya.
And now, Anne, allow me to flip the coin a bit, and let's look at the investors and the players in the petroleum industry. Are they seeing the benefits? Because from this side of the coin, Kenyans are feeling the pinch. I mean, we have to, pay a bit more so that we can get my plate of ugali. I'll pay a bit more so that I can go to work. I'll pay a bit more so that I can get my electricity connected. But the players in the petroleum industry, are feeling the benefit? Is it serving to their advantage? What is the scenario there?
For that, I will say the only benefit is, I'll say it's maybe for the oil marketing companies, because you see, they were the major complainers when prices remained unchanged. Because you see, Treasury had to get money so that they can compensate. But let's say if Total, I'm just giving Total as an example, if I sell at 130 shillings and I know it's supposed to go at 134, you see it's a loss on my end. As much as Treasury will compensate me for the 4 shilling, it's also a loss on my end. But for them, the only beneficiary here I can say is the money that you put for storage facilities and maybe for transport, but I can't see, because it's also paining the Treasury, because they have to increase the taxes and the levies so that they can get revenue. You see, as we said, the disposable income is low, So even for Kenya, for it to finance its expenditures, it has to increase the taxes. And how is it getting the taxes? Just by increasing taxes in the small things that we do in excess duty, VAT, etc.
All right, and you spoke something about the compensation. I know Treasury. You touched there and you said that it compensated a bit, but the taxes and the levies that we mean, what solution do we have for it? Is it a time where we relook at how much we're charging in terms of taxes and levies, or is it justifiable where we are at and now we should brace ourselves for even harder times?
For the taxes, I would only blame COVID because COVID has really done a number on Kenya. The economy is not growing as fast and is not back to where it was. So what KRA and what the Treasury need to do is to either just relook at their expenditure. They have to balance between reviving the economy and building or spending money where it needs to be spent. Because you see, the more we continue to borrow, like for Kenya, we've seen our appetite for debt is really high. We have money from IMF, from World Bank, and all these loans comes with conditions. And one of the conditions from IMF was for Kenya to have a base for revenues, because taxes. You remember when we had when there was a period when we were not paying as much taxes, there was a cushion that was given. The revenues from KRA really went down. So what they did, they had to reverse it come this year, and now people are paying taxes as it was in 2019. But even with where we are, with people not earning money the way they used to earn money, with the economy not growing as fast, the only option KRA has is either to maintain taxes where pre-pandemic level and look for other sources of income, and let's say jumping into PPPs, the private public partnerships, or just to reduce their expenditures and their appetite for debt. Because as we are right now, Kenya is paying a lot of money just to service the debt that we are getting from China, from IMF, and from World Bank.
All right, and let's go back to the households in the country. What are some of the areas that are going to affect them directly? I know you touched a bit on maybe transport and a bit there, but what are some of these areas that are going to make them feel the pinch out of this fuel hike?
I would say the way we've said this, the transport, where it will double. There's the food prices, because remember, even when we are importing food, we're importing, let's say, tomatoes, all those things that we need for daily use. If prices do go high, all that price will just be trickled down to the consumers. So we'll also see a pressure on that side. We'll also see, especially right now, the price of kerosene is very high, and most people who use kerosene, they don't have another alternative option, which is charcoal. But kerosene used to be the cheaper option, but now that it's high, we will see most people, even with the loss of jobs right now, they'll also move towards the poverty line, because life as at now is really expensive. There's a high cost of living. Getting loans will also be difficult, because remember, where we are at the moment, inflation is high. So even if you get money from a bank at 10,000 and you put in the interest rates and everything, you are still paying a lot of money just because of the inflation that is there. And you'll see when inflation is high, most banks will not even be lending money to the common man until they'll be putting money in other asset classes such as government securities. And that will just limit people's way of life.
All right. And as we come to the end, it looks very gloomy. No hope. Is there any reprieve in sight? Is there any hope for Kenyans? What are we looking at?
The light at the end of the tunnel is we saw Parliament are summoned, the CS, tomorrow. So we hope that when they are summoned and they explain, I believe if the Parliament just hears the outcry of the Kenyans and they force IPRA just to go back to subsidizing the prices, and prices will just revert back to, let's say, July levels. I feel like that will be a better reprieve or a better light at the end of the tunnel. But at the moment, it's just for us to embrace ourselves for a high cost of living, especially this month and next month. The other thing that I can see that will maybe cushion us if the MPC is meeting next week, and they'll have to put into consideration the inflation, how the economy is doing, and if they do put into consideration the high rising in inflation, I believe they will do something to push on the common mwananchi. Maybe they will lower the rate or just depending on how they assess the economy.
All right, and any final remarks as we come to a close?
Thank you for having me. And for these fuel prices, I will just say, as much as it's high at the moment, I believe that the many factors that come into play, we've seen the global prices are also going high. And if the worst case scenario I can say is prices might also go high, because remember, Delta variant is also coming. Delta is also affecting most of the countries globally. So if that continues to happen and the supply is lower and demand is also high, so the supply and demand effect will see prices high by the end of December 2021.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time, Anne, and for coming and having this discussion with us today. We'll look forward to having another discussion soon.
Thank you for having me as well. Have a great day.
All right, thank you so much. And that is what we were discussing today, the crisis that has been brought about by the hiking of the fuel prices, which is at a record high historically. I mean, it's never gotten here before, and it is caused a lot of havoc in the country. And according to Anne, there is a meeting that is going to happen between the CS and the Committee on Energy in Parliament tomorrow. We hope good things are going to come out of it, and also the MPC that is going to be sitting in the week or so, and we hope to get good results out of that deliberation that they're going to be having, as we get recommendations on how the economy is performing and what measures to put so that we can protect the economy and cushion Kenyans who are still reeling from the effect of COVID-19. That's all the time we had for you on this episode of Metropole Business Center. Do make sure that you continue this conversation on our social media platforms at Metropole TV KE, at Fred Makori, and let's get to hear what you think about this topic as far as fuel prices is concerned, and any other issues that is affecting you. And keep it Metropole TV and enjoy the rest of your viewing.